Hello, y'all. I'm back again. And this video is going to be encouragement and a little poetry for those that have been in custody battles and lost children through the courts. Decent parents, y'all. Whatever kind of parent you were. If you lost in a custody battle, I want to begin here by saying this. You ain't lost no custody battle because what the Lord was doing was taking custody of the parent. You didn't know that, did you? You can't lose custody of anything or anyone when the Lord is taking custody of you. It's the biggest blessing in the world. Now, if the parent that ultimately gets the children in the court of law and raises them for the rest of their life and does not get that child to allow the Lord to take custody of the child they raise, then they still failed. Because that means that the parent that got the legal custody did not allow the Lord to have custody of them. It's a mean act. For a matter of fact, it's definitely ugly. It hurts the children more than anything. But it helps because in the long run, the Lord will reveal to you more of why it's happening. You are under so much protection when you lose legal custody of anyone. Because what did I say in the beginning? The Lord has custody of you. See, it's really not possible. Paper trail shows that there's a loss of custody. Sometimes there's no paper trail. The child is almost just kidnapped, taken to another state, paperwork drawn up without the parent's permission. It happens in so many dirty ways. I talked about where murderers go. In my perspective of not all murderers, very few of them will be eligible to enter into the gates of heaven. And when someone takes custody of your children and they don't allow you to see them, that's a form of a murder. They tried to murder you. So you have to view those type of parents the same way you would a murderer. Very few murderers, approximately 10% of murderers, will enter into the gates of heaven. And most of those murderers will be at least teenagers when it happened and they killed one person, age 19 years old and under, sometimes 25 and under. So they attempted a murder upon you without actually putting you in the ground. So it's the same way. When someone has a vicious and malicious custody battle against you, and your children are removed, or you don't get the time with your kids that you think you deserve, making you almost like an absent parent, that's a form of a murder. Very few people that take that level of power and control, most of them will not enter heaven. I'll give it the same percent that I would actual murderers. 10% will enter into heaven. It might even be less for people that take so much abnormal control in custody battles. It happens to mothers and fathers. But it doesn't work usually because the Lord is the one that has custody of us all, especially the believers. The Lord got custody of you The wicked parent that's taking the children and not allowing you to even visit the children, that's very wicked. Where does the Bible say wicked people go? When someone just does it just out of pure wickedness and jealousy, just mad because you don't want to be with them no more, you don't want to sleep with them no more, it's just pure wickedness. So it's the same percent. They usually will not enter into heaven. 10%. It's becoming the norm now. It's so many parents that have, and I'm talking about good parents, good parents that have lost custody of their children. I went through a custody battle. The Lord has custody of you as the parent. So what is it doing to take custody of your children? It means nothing because they can't take custody of the parent. What they really want to do is take custody of the parent. That's a weak attempt to take custody of the parent. It really is, to file legal filings and to attempt to permanently punish a parent and torture the kids. They really want custody of you. And they're mad because they weren't able to get custody of you. Check this out. Your abuser, that's an abusive move. That's psychological abuse. So an abusive parent, that is true psychological abuse. It's called parental alienation. So when they're asking for custody of your children, no matter who it happens to, if you were on the receiving end of losing your children, whether you be a lady or a man, that person wanted custody of you. So they still don't get what they want. Taking custody, primary custody of your children against your will and without your wishes, when you wanted to be more in your children's life, they still didn't get custody of you. You can't go to court and say, I want to file for custody of the parent. Slavery ended in 1865. That's all they were attempting to do. It's nothing but a power and control issue that failed. If they got custody of your children and it worked in a court of law, they actually failed. In the way that they think. And so parents that have survived custody battles, they've learned this over the years. They've learned this over the years. So it don't mean anything. Nothing at all. Taking custody of your children still won't make that parent your Lord. They want to be your Lord too. That other parent just wants to show you that they're your God. I'm your God. And I made such a powerful move against you. I was able to be successful in making it where you can't see your children for however many years it goes on. It ain't doing nothing. If they didn't take your child and came back showing that your child been baptized in the name of Jesus Christ, they just took a child and helped your child eventually enter into hell. Does that sound like it's success? Because that's what it all boils down to. How many people gonna end up in hell eternally? Or just die and they're not in a peaceful situation? How often do you see them have an expression of real joy? Do they look happy? And if they do, it's a happiness that's fake. And it's fine. Some parents want to look serious. That's fine. But there are so many parents that I've talked to over the years that have went through custody battles and they all have survived it. It's a small number of them where the children come back and they're able to, I mean, a very small number. I'm talking about like 5%. It's a worldly, hopeless situation. So if you lost custody of your children in a legal form through courts, only 5% of those cases really turn out good. And that's because the child that was taken has such a remarkable spirit. But unfortunately, if the children take too much of the demonic energy of the parent that was very controlling and abusive, and yes, it is abuse. Now I know the name for it. It's called parental alienation. It's a form of abuse. It's a form of abuse towards the parent that's losing their children and the children itself. It hurts the children the most. Normally, the parents will survive it because when you lose some form of custody in court, the Lord really does take custody of the parent that lost. This is real. It won't stop the rest of your life. The average person that loses custody of any children in divorces, just parenting plans that go wrong, they usually survive it, especially if they're not on drugs and alcohol. And even the ones that get on drugs and alcohol tend to eventually get off drugs and alcohol. Much of the time, who actually ends up drinking and smoking more is the children that were caught up in the custody battle. There's so many dynamics to it. In Stoic lessons, it teaches that if the child from a custody battle or any child that becomes like an estranged child to you, which means they go a very long time and they make no contact with you, in Stoic lessons, they teach that it's the parent's option to accept that child back. And you will take that option. You will decipher, and parents should decipher. I'm just letting you know what Stoic lessons teach. This is something that's not taught in the Bible. The Bible does not ever say honor your children. It's not a 10 commandment. Most parents will not enter hell because they're lacking a relationship with their children. The Lord will understand. One of the things I know for sure is the Lord is a rational God. So the Lord does not hold anything against you that you have no control over. Never take a child back that's estranged, that was in a custody battle, that is coming back to play games. The Lord has custody of the parent that lost in the legal matter. You don't have to play games with anybody. When the Lord takes custody of you, you will have a much better self-esteem. Your self-esteem will get better, and the children self-esteem might be a little lower for a while, but it's up to those children as they become adults to do what they want to do. You ain't lost nothing when the Lord has taken custody of you. The Lord did this the day you were born. Parents that lose custody of their children, I've met them in coffee shops. They're male and they're female. They usually do well financially. The reputation of a parent that takes custody of their children is not usually a good one. That's one of the things that the parent that takes custody doesn't really think about. And I'm talking about in cases where they're just really being just super cruel, making it very difficult, almost impossible for the other parent to even just visit the children. I've talked to men in coffee shops. Oh my goodness, men go through the worst, especially when they have daughters. And some of them have been white men, to be honest. I'm like, what is going on with white women not thinking they should be around their daughters? And I mean, these are pretty good fathers. So I've given advice. Much of the time, those particular white men, they take those girls out of their inheritance. So imagine this, because you're listening to your mother and turn it against your father, and you don't want to have anything to do with your father. He's a rich white man and he leaves you nothing. Then your mother dies and you end up on the streets, living on the streets. I agree with the decision. If a child is taken from their dad as well, the dad can't visit the child. Why would that man leave his riches to disrespectful daughters? I've talked to so many people throughout the years in the community. It's not even anything to be ashamed of anymore. It's so many men and ladies that have lost custody of their children long, long time ago. And even recent. And these are parents that don't do no drugs. It's so common now that people just sit around in the coffee shop and talk about how bitter the parents are that are taking custody. When you take a good parent that wants to be involved with their child, a parent that's not on drugs, and you keep them away from their children, it's called parental alienation. And the children that go along with this, that get sent to the other parent, they're called estranged children. Parents just sit around and talk about how miserable these people are. You're showing the ultimate misery when you just spend your time making sure that your children are not around their other parent. It's just horrible. The reputation, I wouldn't want the reputation of the person that goes to court and takes custody and just doesn't want that child to be around the other parent. The parent that took the custody, they'll have a reputation of being unfair, mean, not having empathy, not being thoughtful enough. What kind of spirit is that out there? And then there's so much anger towards anyone else that comes in the parent's life that lost custody. Like as if the parent that takes custody acts like they're some kind of lord and that they have full control over what the Lord is going to send the parent that lost custody. You can't control people like that. Yes, you may take kids, But you can't stop the children at church or in the grocery store or at the community center, at school, at work. That parent has no control over being able to stop other people from talking to the parent. There has to be something else to do with our lives. And you know what? The parent that loses the custody, they're like, yep, I knew that person didn't love me. You just confirmed everything bad that they ever thought about you. It doesn't show that you're good natured at all. There's nothing really of spiritual power that's going to come out of it. And the other parent, when these children come back estranged with a bad attitude, thinking you ought to tolerate them, coming back, not understanding that they have other siblings and other relatives on the mother or father side that they need to communicate with. The parent that took the custody, they're annoyed because even the other parent that lost the custody doesn't want this in their life. I mean, you got to really think about it. Parents that take custody of daughters and sons from mothers and fathers, that take that level of God-like control. The thing is, nobody has to tolerate it forever. All the parents that I've talked to that lost custody of their kids, the primary parent that did the wicked deed, they get so upset when they no longer can manipulate or control the parent that lost custody, all because the child is 50 years old now. Nobody's missing a narcissistic family. I've talked to parents that lost custody, and they're thanking the Lord that it happened. The children, a lot of times, that are taken custody by these narcissists, the children come out so over materialistic, not understanding spiritual things. Why take a child from a parent? I mean, really think about this. What blessing is going to come from this? Taking a child from their mother and father, and you don't even teach this child to pray. You took somebody from their mother or father and didn't teach them prayer. The other parent that lost got to send like 15 messages to the child before they even put up some praying hands. Don't have a clue as to what the Lord is really about. No one that lost custody of their children has to live in any kind of misery because of some old, bitter, mentally chaotic person. You're not viewed as a good person, neither are the kids. People talk. Reputation means something. The Lord really does take custody of the parent. And you can fight for custody all day long and get it. You really wanted custody of that parent. You're just going after the kids to get full control. And to do something like that for so many years. Some parents, they take custody, they had the kids for a year, but they call their baby mama, baby daddy and say, look, I can't do this. You want to come get the kids? They work it out in court. Let's fix this child support thing. All someone's doing when they take custody and not allowing you to see your children, they're just trying to murder you. And I talked about this on another video. 10% of murderers will enter heaven. They just won't enter heaven. It's the same thing when people do other wicked things. Taking a child from their parent really affects the child. It's a very painful thing. And this is what the parent that's taking custody, this is their whole goal, is to bring pain and torture to everyone involved. And these children come back, and I've talked to other parents about it too. The communication skills, the passive aggressive, um, the child, now the child thinks they're God. So they're, after being estranged for so many years, they just show up. Hey, I'm the Lord. You want to take me back? That's the attitude of these children. These custody battles make these children highly narcissistic, to the point the other person, the other parent is like, I'm not interested in your mischievous adult child or teenage child or whatever. There's nothing going to come out of it. I think in these situations, the Lord handles the parent like they're somewhat like an orphan in a way. Now the parent becomes like an orphan. The parent that's hurt, that lost custody, they become like an orphan to the Lord, and then the Lord takes custody of them. Just because you got custody of sons and daughters, you're not a God. These parents got to stop sitting around acting like this parent wasn't going to be blessed in any way with a life. That parent can only affect one part of that. The parent that's taking custody can only affect one part of the other parent's life. You don't really have the right to dictate the rest of someone's life like you're their God. Parents that lose custody, from my perspective, they need to act quickly, get in college, get in school, work on that portfolio and resume, and use that time wisely. If you lose custody of your children, don't spend it crying about it. You got to catch that. Only cry about it for so long. You got to move on with your life. Like the one gentleman, the white man I'm telling you about that was be in the coffee shop that lost his daughters. That man is like borderline on the road to becoming like a millionaire. His laptop has replaced his daughters. He ain't hurting at all. He sit there with a smile because the Lord has custody of him. Most parents that this has happened to, they are truly people that love the Lord. Most of the time, the parent that's doing the extreme abuse and taking custody, they don't even care nothing about God. And that's what it's all about. They're just trying to be your God and the kids' God. They want to be their children's God and their ex God. And it just won't work. Because to tell the truth, we are under the custody of the one most high. Even if you don't enter a heaven, even if you are not eligible for a heaven, you are under the custody of a awesome Lord, a great God. This video is just to be encouraging and to let parents know that suffered custody battles or are going through it right now, you will make it. There's so much you can be doing. And now you got all this time to put in whatever children that the Lord had you help. Every single adult that's went through these custody battles and lost custody, lost primary custody in a court realm, they're always around other children. Some of them become the most amazing aunties and uncles. Their nieces and nephews are still part of their bloodline. Parents that go after the other parent for custody, they got to stop acting like that child they took from the parent is their only relative. These parents that lose custody, they still got other children. They're around the children of their friends. They got cousins, uncles, fathers, mothers, nieces, best friends that they've grown up with, co-workers that adore them. It ain't doing nothing. It's a major waste of money, too. It shows a lot about a person's nature to be so wicked that they willing to spend $25,000, sometimes more, just to take your children. That money could have been spent on the children. And oh my God, the child support abuse. Oh my goodness. When they take custody of these children, they raise the most ungrateful children. You pay these children 60,000, 50,000. Some people have paid 200,000 for these kids. And the parent that took custody of them doesn't even teach them how to say thank you to the other parent. It's really sad. And then the parent that takes the custody, they're so sad and distraught that the other parent doesn't want this chaos back in their life. See, when the Lord takes custody of the parent, you realize that it's much more to do with your life than to live in an existence like that. Who wants to live in uncertainty and agony? Ultimately, it hurts the children's life, and these parents mature and they figure out they don't have to tolerate you or your children that you messed up. Now I get it if it's truly a neglectful parent that don't want to be bothered. But these custody battles, taking these children away from these actually decent parents, primary parent that goes after custody, they know you a decent parent. And somewhere in their heart and mind, they're going to eventually figure out that it wasn't the best thing to do, even to their own children. It's very, very hurtful to the children. It's almost like the parent that's going after the custody. You know what they're doing? They're kind of acting like a child themselves. You're not gonna view it like that when you cry a little about it and you're sad. It's normal to feel some kind of way when you go through a horrific custody battle. But you will learn later that the parent that's doing that is actually a child themselves. It's not really, when I look back on it, it's not really adult behavior. Yeah, it appears to be real boss man or boss lady because they got these big lawyers and stuff like that. But if you really, really look at it and you really get into the root of it, it's really not an adult behavior. It shows a lot of childishness, and other people will view it the same way. And it's not going to stop the fact, going to children's events and stuff. You know, Parents that take custody of the kids, stop being mad at the other parent when they go to other children's events. You know that they wanted to be at their own children's event, but you didn't allow it. All the parent does is taking custody, they're just making it harder on themselves. Like you got a whole parent that wants to be involved with your child, and you don't allow it, so you just make it harder on yourself. Going out, you gotta get married. That's a punishment too. You gotta get married, or you feel like you gotta get married. So you get yourself in a bad marriage to find someone to help you with the kids. And then you just end up divorced from the person you used to keep the kids, when their biological parent was willing to help the whole time. It's a loser deal. It's not going to make you any happier. I know this for a fact. Usually, like I said, I've talked to many ladies and men that have lost custody of their children. They all behave much happier than the person that took the kids or children or took their sons and daughters, because they don't live in the guilt that the parent that took the children has to live in. They're not living in any shame. They just have to deal with, okay, I didn't win that deal in the way I thought I was. And another thing, parents that take custody of the children, this may hurt, but if y'all know people that have went through this, I'm going to tell you a secret. Y'all know it too. I'm going to say this. And this is one thing that the parent will not be able to control. Just because you take custody of somebody's daughters and sons, which are y'all kids together, that parent that you took the kids from or the children from, they still don't miss or love you. Taking a child from the other parent still will not make that parent feel anything for you. Actually, it's going to backfire. Imagine this. Your baby mama, baby daddy, your son or daughter's mother or father don't even shed a tear when you die. So it all backfires. There's this narcissistic attitude, and there's this subconscious belief that this other parent is just sitting around over in a corner, not able to get over the ex that took the children, or the children themselves that become estranged. And it's a delusion. All you've done is given that other parent a bunch of free time to get their stuff together, and you've opened up a lot of space and room for this other parent to be successful in other areas. And when it's truly a decent parent, they're going to be always having people around them. I've talked to parents, men and ladies, that have lost children in custody battles, and they have such a rational peace about themselves. And at some point, they stop trying to figure it out, right? And usually, most of us can get to the root of the problem. He took the children because he's always been jealous of your first boyfriend. But taking the children doesn't change the fact that other parent that you took the children from still gonna cry over their first boyfriend or girlfriend. Taking the children from the other parent does not take away the love they feel for other people. It just doesn't. Taking someone's children, you can't change their soul. They still gonna feel how they feel. If that parent didn't like you and didn't want to be with you anymore, it's not going to change that. They still don't like you, even when you take the kids. Actually, it makes it worse. they're never going to be psychologically obedient to you. So if you're like a wicked custody petitioner, there's no respect. They're not psychologically dedicated to you. See, if more parents that take custody of sons and daughters from mothers and fathers, if they were a fly on the wall and they really saw the joy and peace and the beauty in the other parents' lives, it would be such a waste of time. Actually, when you take custody of somebody's child in a weird kind of way, because the Lord takes custody of the parent that lost, you're bringing like an abundance of happiness into their life that the Lord is going to swarm towards the parent that lost. Taking custody of the child from another parent, it does not stop the way the Lord is going to bless the other parent. It won't stop anything. Some parents that take custody get mad when the kids they took custody of thrive and do well. Ain't that something? You took custody, now you mad that the child's a doctor. Kind of crap. Not all parents do that. But, and this is the thing, this is really interesting to me. I found this ultimately almost borderline sick, right? This is the sick thing that will come out of it. And this part's really sick. For a man or woman to take custody of the child, they done spent thousands and thousands of dollars to get custody of your child. This is amazing and borderline disgusting. They take custody of your child and you see these photos and they sit there with usually looking miserable. They don't even really want the kids. That's another thing parents learn. Parents that went through custody battles, oh my God, and get these corrupt step parents that they don't want to be with. See, the thing is, when the parent lose custody of the sons and daughters, we ain't got to go get married like you do. You feel like you got to go get married to take care of a son or daughter that you took. And if that other parent suffers with like real deep depression because you took their son or daughter, the Lord will punish you for that. You won't make it into heaven. It's just logic and common sense. There's no heaven. It's almost like committing a murder, like in some rare circumstances, the parent that lost may commit suicide. They may actually unalive themselves or have a drug overdose and be paralyzed. What are you getting out of that, doing that to somebody? When the Lord has custody of you, anyone can be removed. You may not want them removed. Oh my God, the parents that talk about when these estranged children come back, the horrible nature that comes with them, that comes from the parent that had primary custody, that didn't let their other parent kind of help support and balance out the mental health of that child. Ain't nobody looking for that. We want you to retake custody. Take the custody again. We know what narcissism is now. So we already know that for you to be that wicked, whether you be a male or female that took custody of the children and committed parental alienation upon the other parent to hurt the parent and ultimately hurting the children the most, we already know you don't have no empathy. You don't have much of a soul. And we know what narcissism is now. So that brings a big relief because now you know what this person is. What was this person that would enable them to do something so cruel in the first place? It's their narcissism. You know that that's what it is. You truly know what it is. So let's see. Hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for the chats. Yeah. And it don't stop them from singing. Stronger. I'm wiser. I'm better. So much better. I made it. Y'all made it. It's just a trial and tribulation. We all got to go through them. Never would have made it. Never would have made it without you. The Lord got custody of you, y'all. The Lord has custody. And we got to pray that the Lord takes more custody of the hurting children. What kind of wicked parent almost permanently destroys the soul of their children? Logic tells you that that child needs both parents. They need to know both parents. Just messing up good children. The blessing that comes from custody battles is learning who you are. You are not just someone that was put here to just love your children. You were put here to have a life in addition to your children. It's not the only part of your life. And I'm seeing that more and more as my children get older. It's not the only part of your life. Could I made it without you? I would have lost it all. But now I see how you were there for me. I can say, never would have made it. Never would have made it without you. I would have lost it all. But now I see how you were there for me, and I am stronger. I'm wiser. I'm better. Much better. When I look back on all you brought me through, I can see all the one I held on to, and I never would have made it. You see where they lose? When you take custody of somebody's children, you can't stop this. I would have lost it all. But now I see how you were there for me. Never would have made it. Never would have made it without you. I would have lost my mind a long time ago if it had not been for you, Lord. I'm stronger, I'm stronger, I'm wiser, I'm wiser, I'm better, so much better. I made it through my storm and my test to carry me through my mess. The Lord was there to carry us through our mess. So that's basically it. It's a blessing in disguise. My suggestion is if you go through a custody battle, there's different ways to handle it. If you can't handle it, go into no contact. You not no good to anyone, including children, if you don't have your mind. It's a form of psychological warfare. That parent wants you to like lose your mind. So in those cases, in extreme cases, you may have to detach from the whole situation. If you want to try to fight more, try to go get some different legal representation. But fighting over the children, it's a big waste of money for both parents. It's cheaper to work it out. Try to work it out. The parent that's doing this wickedness, they're just trying to assert control over you and abuse you through the courts. That's all. Because they no longer can abuse you in the home anymore, especially if you don't want to be in the relationship anymore. Taking custody of the children doesn't make the other parent love the other parent that's doing it. It's a big waste of energy. And ultimately, I feel like this, it does a lot of damage to the soul of the person that's taking custody. They're corrupting their own soul as well, because it's what you feel on the inside. You can present like you got all the money in the world and you the most powerful person in the world. Taking custody and taking someone's children, slave masters did it. Slave masters were some of the most depressed people. Do you know slave masters? Some of them committed suicides on those plantations. They sold and took a lot of their slaves' children. But sometimes the slaves would come out the cotton field. This is something that's not discussed enough. The slaves would come out the cotton field, walk up on the front of the plantation houses and say, Massa, Massa, you look like you're sleeping, Massa. What's wrong? Massa, how many more hours I got to work out in the cotton field? Then he go get his wife. He said, okay, Massa, I'll be right back. He goes to get his wife. This handsome slave goes to get his wife from the cotton field. And he say, Shirley, can you come up here? Massa really sleeping. Shirley comes up. She says, Massa, you gonna wake up, Massa? And Shirley says, Massa's gone. And nobody cries. Massa done committed suicide. That's not talked about enough. How many plantations, how many masters and owners of slaves ultimately got so depressed? Because it is a form of depression taking people's children, whether you go in the superior court to take them, family court to take them, whether you selling people's children on a plantation to make money off their children, or just to be pure mean. Whatever the reason is that is happening, it is so damaging to the soul of the person that's taking your children. What's that saying? You don't become happy making somebody else miserable. That's not how you get the kind of joy I feel. The type of joy I feel right now, you can't feel this kind of joy taken from people, whether you taking their wallet from them, their children. So the narcissist that takes custody of your sons and daughters and gets with step parents to manipulate your children, they'll always be denied a certain part of their soul. That in time, the parent that lost custody will be able to enjoy. There's different levels of peace and happiness. See, the advantage of losing custody, okay, you lost, but you still were not the one doing that to somebody. See, what you don't want to be is the wicked narcissist, the custodian parent, the primary parent that's keeping the child away from the other parent. You don't want to be that person. Oh my goodness, and their drinking habits. Why are they 80% on functional alcoholics? I'm not an alcoholic because I'm being a fair person. So I hope this makes sense, but this is dedicated to parents, and share this video. Thank you so much for the likes. This is dedicated to parents that have experienced custody battles and to just be a little motivation. You can make it because the Lord has custody of you. I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Any questions? So I'll end with prayer. The one most high in heaven, please emotionally support everyone involved, especially the children. And thank you so much for taking custody, full custody of the parent that lost legal custody or lost partial legal custody. Don't worry about them kids. Don't say thank you for the money. It's just money. You gave it away, you'll make more money. Move on with your life. Don't ignore the kids and the children that are allowed in your life. You lost custody of your children, be the best auntie or uncle you can be. Don't let more kids down. And you didn't let your kids down. Somebody took them. You didn't let your kids down. You are a good parent no matter what. Just for the fact you fought for your kids and tried your best, and you supported your kids for as long as you could have. You love your children. Just be thankful that you aren't in the narcissist shoes. You don't have to be in shame because you were doing that to someone else, being wicked, committing parental alienation, and just move on. It's so many beautiful things to do. If you don't like how the exchange children are acting when they come back, you don't have to tolerate that. I gave you the key, what the Stoic lessons teach. You don't have to live in misery for anybody. Losing custody of your children, it will make you a stronger person and make you understand what you don't have to tolerate. Please like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Click a like. Never would have made it. I never could have made it without you. I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Never would have made it. Thank you. Bye.